Hi, this is Ken Vella, live event host for Hot Wheels, Muscles and Mojo, Wheels and Waves Malibu, voted #1 in talk radio. Oh yeah. Right here, right now, you're listening to Every Car Has a Story with JoepeP and Dusty.
Here's Jean-Claude Killy, winner of 3 Olympic gold medals for skiing.
Surprise? Jean-Claude Killy in a sport truck?
Chevy CST, custom sport truck. Any way you spec it out, you're in for excitement. Order bucket seats, 4 on the floor, a 396 V8. You name it. Whether you're going to work or to work out, Chevy's got what you want.
Some performance, this Chevrolet.
And nothing says performance like Camaro. Order it with a 4-speed Hurst shifter and 4-wheel power disc brakes. And you've got it made. Camaro, the closest thing to a vet yet.
The one thing I like is to drive any Chevrolet.
At Chevrolet, putting you first keeps us first.
And good afternoon, everybody. You're listening to show number 77. Every car has a story. Hi, I'm JoepeP, and you know, that vanishing cream that Dusty just put on is really working there. Right, Dusty? Come on. Cut the comedy. I guess he's a little bashful today. Well, Dusty is, let's face it, now it's summertime here in Wilmington, and you got all the beachgoers and the hustle and the bustle. We all know what that's about. So he's stuck in traffic, so he'll be here shortly. But how about that commercial with Jean-Paul Killy? I never saw a commercial that had featured a pickup truck and a Camaro. It's what were they thinking back then? You know, it's back then pickup trucks weren't like the trucks that they have now. You know, it was you bought a pickup truck. It was one of these things where, hey, you know, we got a load of stuff over here, and it's got to be towed. Who's got a pickup truck? Oh, why, that guy over there, he has a pickup truck. So, and look who just walked in. He's got his pajamas on. It's Captain Dusty. Well, Captain Dusty, you just take your time, and we'll get all set up there. So, and then, you know, Jean-Paul Killy, he was like the ultimate skier back in the late 60s. So, you know, he was on everything from Wheaties to soapboxes to you name it, you know. I even think that Dusty had a picture of him in his locker when he was over in Vietnam. But that's another story for another day. Well, coming up while Dusty's getting his notes ready there, we have Kayla in Search of Classic Cars calling in from Montana. And today we're going to be talking about the 1956 Ford truck. And this is one of these vehicles she has on her property. And I wrote notes, written. Now, I'll find out if that's the correct word, but of what model it was, and she'll correct me on that. And then we have Jesse Wild calling in from Schwab's Pharmacy, and he'll be telling us really great updates, what's going on. They're ready to do production on the trailer that will feature Every Car Has a Story, have that little product placement in there. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then we have Bob Beck. Now, Bob Beck, this guy, he is a true car guy. And, you know, every time we have a guest on, it's I always talk to them so I know, and I take my notes. And it's Bob is one of these type of guys where as soon as you meet him, it's an instant, hey, I could talk to this guy for hours, you know. But so he'll be coming up around 1:36 Eastern Standard Time there. So, Captain Dusty.
Hey, good to be here.
Good here.
Running a little bit late, yeah, but here nonetheless.
You know, I thought you bought a bottle of orange juice here, but it's Papa Shine Quick Mist. So we'll be talking about them later. And so, without further ado, Kayla's going to be coming around in 3 minutes.
Okay. Well,
anything new you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, lots and lots of stuff going on. We got car shows coming up. We got Papa Shine demonstrations. Listen, if you got a car show coming up and you'd like to see a Papa Shine demonstration, send us an email, right?
Yep, we'll get the kids out with the protest banners and
right,
everything, you know.
Absolutely. And I think we got time for a Stump Joe question.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
All right. This is an interesting one. It's kind of a multiple choice.
Multiple choice. Okay.
You're familiar with airbags, right?
Yes.
Every car is an airbag.
Airbags or windbags. I've met them both.
Yeah. Okay. Now here's something I didn't know. At what speed is an airbag automatically set to go off in a collision? Now I'm going to give you some numbers.
Give me some numbers.
All right. Is it 11 miles an hour? 19 miles an hour, 29 miles an hour, or 39 miles an hour?
I'm going to say 39.
39. Yeah, I would say that was probably what I would have thought.
Yeah.
But that's not right.
It's not.
No. 19 miles an hour. Can you believe that? Isn't that amazing?
So that can go off at any time?
Well, if you're going 19 miles an hour and you bump something, you better be ready, because those things, they say they can be like a loaded gun. So all you drivers out there, piece of information we didn't know. So be very, very careful. 19 miles an hour doesn't seem like it's very much, but I guess under the right circumstances, it could really hurt you. So
wow,
there you go.
That's totally amazing. There. The thing is that now it's like you got the side airbags, you got the front airbags. Then you got the airbag that's sitting in the back seat. Don't go that fast. It's over here. Turn. But anyway,
of course, the other big news is that Fiat Chrysler is now talking to Peugeot and Citroën about merging with them in Europe. And now General Motors is out of Europe and Ford is out of Europe. So the rumor is that maybe Ford...
I don't want to hear it.
Maybe it could happen. Maybe Ford and General Motors will have to... it happened with Hudson. It happened with Studebaker. It happened with Nash. I mean, this is...
But where are they now?
Well,
they're out of business.
I agree. And it's the dynamics of the moving mobile market. When Toyota is the largest car company in the world, and General Motors and Ford combined only have a 30% market share in the United States, this is a pretty scary time. These iconic automobile companies, boy, there's so much competition out there, Joe. It's getting scary.
Wow.
Yeah, I know it. Not good news.
Dogs.
But,
it's Ford and Chevy, cats and dogs sleeping together. 100-degree weather in North Carolina.
Isn't that frightening? But here's the other thing, that the cars in China, domestic cars contribute about 50% of the Chinese market. And they think that by 2028 or 29, that China will control maybe 30% of the world market. So there's only so many places these automobile guys can go, and there's only so much money. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Keep buying domestically, right, Joe?
Oh, you better believe it there. So, with all this going on, we have Kayla in search of classic cars with Zen. I hope things are normal out in Montana. How's things doing out there, Kayla?
It is actually smoky.
Smoky?
Our neighbors in Canada have a fire in Alberta, and the smoke is starting to come down and give us all allergies. So.
Wow.
That is no fun, because it's when I lived in Connecticut, we had a forest fire, and to see the smoke rolling across your backyard is pretty frightening.
It is.
But the same thing, Kayla, is here in Wilmington. What they do is these controlled burns, and to keep the weeds down, and if the wind is blowing in the right direction, you're getting choked out. And you cannot go outside. And if you have allergies, like I know you have and I have, it's just horrible. But everybody's safe and sound in your neck of the woods, right?
Yes, everybody's safe and sound.
We're
just enjoying the sun. The sun's out, so it's not too bad. So we could definitely see a little bit like some smoke, but it's not really thick or anything.
Oh, okay. Well, Dusty and I, we're going to be having car cooking classes after the show. We're going to see how long it takes to bake chocolate chip cookies inside a car, right. Since it's 100 degrees outside
indeed.
again.
It is.
And inside a car or on the engine?
Put it on the no.
That'll make it 200 degrees.
That'll be yes.
It's 100 degrees outside. You put another. Well, I think automobile engines run about 200 degrees. So right, you could cook a steak on an engine.
Oh, really? Now I read that with temperatures that are 100 degrees, mm-hmm. if you get a baker's pan, put it on your dashboard.
Yeah.
You can bake cookies like the Nestle's Tall House cookies.
I'll be darned.
Okay. And it'll take like close to 3 hours. They won't get a golden brown. They'll just get that pasty, dead cookie white look. But anyway, that's next. Every cookie has a story. That will be on. Yeah. What's that?
Lunch on your way to work.
Yeah, you can. You can.
I think somebody came out with some kind of a car grill at one point in time.
Yes.
Didn't you, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you know more about it, but you hook this thing up and you could actually cook lunch.
I know a guy that used to take, he would buy like a roast beef sub.
Yeah.
And he'd put it on top of the where the air filter cap was.
Right.
And he had a truck that always ran hot. And he always had a warm sandwich. So anyway, our cooking show will be at 4 o'clock in the morning. So every sandwich has a story. So Kayla, now I got this wrong, and you corrected me, and I had written it down. But the truck that we're going to be talking about today is a 56 Ford
F-350.
F-350.
Okay.
Now I tried to find literature on this truck, and I found you'll see images coming up that are of the 56 Ford truck lineup.
Yeah.
But and I think there's one brochure that has it, but it's like in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So Kayla, without further ado, let's start the In Search of Classic Cars with Zen. Tell us all about this treasure and why did you have to have it?
Well, I was actually supposed to be a gift to my grandfather because back in the day, he had a 1956 F100. And it was this, that is more of the popular, where everybody tries to collect those.
Yes.
But they're very hard to come by. People don't really like letting go of them. So I came across an F350 thinking, my grandpa will love it because it's bigger than the F100. And I was wrong. So I worked for it, bought it, and showed him, and he likes the trucks, but because he has shrapnel in his leg, he's unable to drive it because it's a stick.
Okay. So this is a truck that has family ties, and looking at the monitor right now, it's these were the typical truck of the 50s that if you had to haul sand or logs or bricks or whatever.
They were work trucks. I think in the 50s, the trucks were not the Tennessee sports cars that they are today.
Oh, no.
They were work trucks. They were business trucks. Today, pickup trucks are for everybody. And they're sports models, they're work models, you name it. I've had modern pickup trucks. I absolutely love them. They drive like the most luxurious automobile you can buy. But back then, back in '56, that was a work truck. So what's the difference between an F100 and an F350?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
The difference between the F100 and the F350 is just a bigger body, or is it a bigger engine? What's different?
Bigger engine, and obviously mine's a dually. The F100 did not come out with a dually.
Okay.
Mine's a flatbed. Usually the F100s come out with the regular truck.
Yep.
Back. And the F350 was a farmer's truck. Oh. This truck I had bought was actually a state truck at one time, so they painted it pumpkin orange.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now
somebody rattle can spray over it, but if you take the paint, the rattle can spray off, it's actually a bright pumpkin orange underneath that.
So it had to be a state truck, you think?
But the cab looks the same as the F100?
Yeah, they both look the same.
Oh, wow. Well, that's a beautiful truck. We absolutely love those.
The And you know, the thing is that, I mean, this truck, out of all of Kayla's 13 car collection here, this one looks like you could actually, to me, it looks like something you could actually work with and you know, put some money into it and that. And,
well, if it's got the same cab style as the F100, that's a very collectible cab style. What's the engine like? Is it a bigger engine than the F100? Is it a diesel engine? Is there anything different?
No, it's just a bigger Y block. I believe it's a 292. I could be wrong. So it's just a bigger engine. You know, like this was the farm. I remember reading an old brochure on it, and the F100. They wanted to make a truck for the everyday man, and especially the F350. You know, a lot of farmers around here would have trucks like that to haul their hay and wood and stuff. When I had bought it, I believe it also was used for a lumber truck at one time. So it had some big old homemade flatbed.
Oh, I love the truck. We're looking at
lumber
pictures of it right now. I love the style of that truck. That's a great looking truck.
Well, do you know
they're becoming very collectible now, especially since the F100s are hard to come by.
Yes.
And if you do I do come across an F100, it usually has been chopped up and hot rodded, and I'm looking for original, you know.
Yes.
So
yes.
This one does have its original Y block still in it. It does run.
A Y block, sure.
The Y block was what they used in the 55, 56 Thunderbird. So that's it's a wonderful Ford engine. It's the predecessor to the 289. The Y block, then went to the 302 and 351. So that's a great engine.
Yep. It's very workable now. You still could find parts for it. You know, they're not very popular, but if you want to keep something original, they're definitely, you can work on them. They're not hard to find parts for those.
You're absolutely right.
So, Kayla, was this a truck at one time where when you would see this going down the road, it would have the wooden rails on the side and a flat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I just took that off because the wood was so old that it was starting to fall apart, and I think it was made out of pine. I think it was pine because I remember the wood would absorb the water when it rained, and it was just getting all gross.
Kayla, I got a great idea for you. Okay. It's a GoFundMe page, but what you do is you sell slivers of that wood, okay, for $10 a piece, and then, you know, people will see the build of this truck. You know, what do you think? You know, it's for $10.
Oh, like little sliver necklaces on Etsy?
Yeah, you could do that.
That'd be like selling some of the teak off the battleship North Carolina.
That's
over
right.
there.
Yeah, you know what,
Same
Kayla?
concept.
The battleship over yonder there, the USS North Carolina, when they were redoing the teak decking, they were selling planks. And they're all gone now. Just think, you're sitting on a gold mine of old wood.
Well, it's a wonderful truck. So, are you going to give this to your granddaddy, or are you going to keep? What are you going to do with it?
He can't drive it. He is now unable to walk. So I'm keeping it because I actually worked over a year and a half to buy it.
Right.
And all that work, I was like, I'm not just going to let it go.
No, not at all.
Wow.
No.
Well, you know.
One thing that is very rare about that truck is that the badges. You could find a lot of F100 badges, but you cannot find a lot of F350 badges. They're very hard to come by, and that truck came with original badges.
Yes,
you're lucky.
Right.
You're very, very lucky.
Yes, indeed.
And you know, the thing is that there's so many parts. It's like a big puzzle when you're getting a vehicle up on the road again, even though if it's not 100% restored. But I got a question for you. I saw a license plate. Do you know what year's on that license plate?
I don't. It doesn't really say the year, so I don't know if that was a state thing, and they just didn't really put the year on it, or what. And then I just left it there. I didn't, want to break it or anything. It's really old.
Right. So, okay, off the top of your head, you have the cash. Now you're going to go into putting this truck back together again. How long would it take, and how much money do you think it would cost to get that truck back up into a running order?
Just a running order, or like
Yeah, let's
all
say
finished and
No, I'd say running order. That's the first step to get it running. Then the next step follows after
Yeah.
that.
gosh, running order.
Well, off the top of
Just
your
for
head.
I want to say 5,000 to 6,000.
Really?
Oh, wow.
I would think something like that would be like 10 or 15.
No. I thought maybe just to get the engine redone, and I'm sure that the transmission rear end are fine, that you could get it going for under 3,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Kayla,
Yep.
on the safe side, pad it. Will you? Pad it, as we used to say in advertising.
Yeah.
Say
sure.
7,000. But wow, that is great. The so
I just figured, 5,000 to 6,000 because it is running. But when you take it out to have it taken to an engine shop, they might find something I don't see.
yeah,
So I always
Yeah.
try to have more money.
and that would have to be torn down
Yep.
to the block and redone. And,
Right.
I mean, to me, that would be the smart way of doing it.
Yeah.
Then all new electrical, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
depends
you're
on
not
how
going
gonna drive it.
No, you're not going to ride
You're not
around
gonna
in
drive it at
65-year-old
nighttime.
wires.
Well, I would be more concerned really about the front suspension. And the engine you can handle. Anybody can rebuild that engine. It would be the front suspension and the rear end. Those would be the two things.
Right.
So that it drives well, it handles well on the highway, and obviously the tires have to be good. But
Okay.
you do all that, and it'd be fantastic. Hey, 1956. You know what happened back then? That was the last time the Detroit Lions won the NFL championship.
Wow.
A long time
Wow.
ago.
One for the books. Well, Kayla, thank you so much. And we'll be back
You're
next
welcome.
week. And I know Kayla will have another pick for us. So this is Joe Pep.
And Dusty.
And this is Every Car Has a Story. We'll be back. Listen to our sponsors. Hey, this is Joe Pep. Hey, I got a special PSA announcement here. For our local folks here in Wilmington, I want to tell you about an important event that's happening here in Wilmington, North Carolina, this Saturday, June 1st, Relay for Life, being held at the Legion Stadium from 4 p.m. until 11. Now, you don't know what Relay for Life is. It's a community-based team funding raising event which helps raise money to support cancer patient programs and groundbreaking research that can help save lives. This event also celebrates over 15.5 million cancer survivors nationwide, and I'm a cancer survivor myself. Anyway, now, my wife, Mrs. Pep, Dawn, is the team captain of the Forest Hills Global Mustangs. This is her third year participating and her second year acting as team captain. It is a cause near and dear to her heart as she lost her mother to cancer 5 years ago. She would love it if you could stop by the event and visit their tent, and better yet, make a donation. And I'll be there too. So, hey, it's come on by. We'll talk about cars, and I'll make you dip into your pocketbooks there. So Relay for Life, New Hanover County, this Saturday, June 1st, Legion Stadium, 2149 Carolina Beach Road. The event gets underway at 4 p.m. and ends at 11. Hope to see you there. Come on down. Dusty, what about Manifest Design
I want
there?
to talk about Manifest Design, Eddie's Hot Rod and Collision, and we'll talk about one of our favorite car care products, Papa Shine. Let's talk about Manifest, 3065 Howard Avenue. That's in Market Common in Myrtle Beach. And come down and see the Cobra in the showroom. This is very unusual.
Cobra
Beautiful little...
in the showroom.
Yeah, a little Cobra car down there. People stop and they say, wow. What a car.
What a car.
Yeah, and you've got Carolina furniture built in the Carolinas. You've got beautiful models, handmade models for guys that they can put in their offices. Got propellers. They've got Joe Pep's art. It's an experience.
Come on down.
Yeah, and as they say, it's a vacation for your eyes. Right?
Greg, vacation. How about Eddie's? And then we'll be doing our video break.
Yeah,
there.
let's give you a telephone number for Manifest. It's the delightful Connie at 910-515-1333, 3065 Howard Avenue in beautiful Market Common in Myrtle Beach. And we want to talk about Eddie. I saw Eddie today, and he's doing much, much better. He was under the weather here a couple of weeks ago. And I tell you what, if you've got a car that's got a ding or needs some major repair on it, or a collector car, he does the whole thing. He does body work, he does transmission work, he does engine work. Your car will come out better than it was in the showroom. He loves automobiles. Unlike many body shops, it's just a job. To him, it's a passion. This is a guy that does SEMA cars and movie cars. So
can't get any better than that,
Can't
right?
get any better than that. Did the Cobra. It is fantastic. Eddie's Hot Rod and Collision, 910-833-5473. And the address is 5009 Carolina Beach Road here in Wilmington,
North Carolina. Stay tuned for the video. Lots of fun for our Facebook Live and podcast audience. We'll be back.
All right, good evening, everybody. Hi, I'm Hot Rod Bob, and you've got gas, the great American auto scene, coming to you live and direct from our studios high atop the gas building in beautiful downtown North Hollywood. With me tonight, the gas building. Yeah, we've risen to the second story. But it's with us in studio tonight, Randy Cardoon from KNX 1070 and talking about cars, along with our normal co-host Bruce Barker, working all the dials and switches.
Normal. How dare you?
Normally, I know it's only sitting on the dryer, but you are here with us. And we've got some great stuff in line for you tonight. We're going to be talking to the people at Forge Line. We got a great video from them, and they are going to be telling us all about their exceptionally good wheels. And I watched the video on how they make them and such. All made in the USA in Ohio. So they're not a California company where everyone thinks hot rodding began. Hot rodding and modifying it, it's all over the U.S., and Forge Line's going to be with us. Stacy Bertram's going to be calling in for the fabulous Ford Show to talk about the biggest Ford show west of Dearborn that's going to be happening this weekend. And then Randy's going to talk about the Chrysler Performance West show.
That's right.
Yes. And we're going to be talking about Mopars in the park. So it's called Spring Fling. But
Yeah, I was going to say, Mopars in the park is something else.
It's something else, but they're going to be in there. So we're going to be talking all about that. And we're going to have a discussion a little bit later on, time permitting, which was the best muscle car.
Oh, boy. Let
From
the
Ford.
opening of the
giving you a
can
choice.
begin.
Right,
Hold on,
Chrysler.
he's giving you a choice.
I'm giving you a choice.
Okay.
We're going to be looking at the Roadrunner, Superbird, and the Torino Talladegas. And we'll talk about those, the good, the bad, and the kind of funky.
That's some pretty good choices to start with.
It is. And right now, we've got someone with us from Forge Line Wheels to talk about their great products and give us some insight. I'm Bob Beck. Who do we have on the line?
This is Steve Shard, the founder of Forge Line. How you guys doing?
Steve, wow, we got the big guy. I'm glad you called in. You've got a great product. I watched the video, and I was amazed. I knew about your product. I've seen the wheels on cars, but your video gave us a lot of information. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the company? And I think Bruce will be playing the video in the background so you can watch it on the screen as well.
Well, fantastic. Hey, the quick background is if out there in L.A., if you know of Dayton Wire Wheel, the low riders and such, well, that was my dad. That was our dad.
Oh, really?
Dave and I are brothers, and so we were making wheels when we were 13, lacing spokes and running the chrome plating line during the summer. So, we've been in wheels for a long, long time. And my father and I, back in '94, decided to, we saw this niche for a customized race wheel. Back then, a lot of cars, you couldn't buy anything custom, and especially made in the United States. And so we decided to come up with this idea of a forged wheel with big brake clearance. And, we started in 1994. And what's kind of ironic is in 1995, we actually had our first championship win with Peter Cunningham in an ST World Challenge Prelude. And kind of just went from there. We just based everything on American made. Our dad was GM, and he always felt that American made was the way to go. And it kind of started from there, and Dave came on board, and I finally realized that I really wasn't a a person that can run a business. I'm more of a people person. So Dave came on board, and he started running the company, and I went more onto sales.
And good afternoon. Hey, welcome back as part 2 of Every Car Has a Story, sponsored by our national sponsor, Papa Shine. And I'll tell you, if you're looking to get a really shine on your car,
you want a show car.
You want a show car, man. And I'll tell you, it's not only right now I'm working on my car at home because I want to sell it, but it also shines my tractor.
Yep.
And get this, your stainless steel products at home. But Dusty, take it away.
Listen, I drove back from Atlanta over the holiday, spent a little time there, and my wife's beautiful Lincoln. I got a little bit dirty, and I got back home, and I just took a hose. I hosed the car off, and I wiped it down, and that Papa Shine popped right back up. It's the most amazing car care product that I have ever seen. And Joe and I'll be at various car shows demonstrating it. It is absolutely a phenomenal product.
He's going to be working. I'll be talking.
Anyhow, Papa Shine, it's available at Manifest Design at Market Common, Myrtle Beach, or you can buy it direct at 615-207-9354. Ask for Greg, and he'll make sure that you get the product. It's available in car shows nationally. We're setting up regional dealers and distributors for it. But I tell you what, it is the most amazing car care product we have ever seen, right, Joe?
And the best part is it's made in the United States, in good old Tennessee. So without further ado there, I know someone told me they saw Jesse walk into the phone booth over at Schwab's. So he'll be coming on very shortly there. And but, you know, it's like now with the holidays, Memorial Day, right?
Yep.
And it's been 100 degrees here in Wilmington, and I don't know what the final temps are, but it sure is hot. And you just can't work outside. So you know what? It's like be thankful that, you know, if you're an individual that's working in an office and you see these guys in the construction and they're working in that 100-degree plus heat, you know, it's...
Yeah, think about them. Let's talk a little bit about Schwab's. You know, Schwab's is for the younger folks that don't make that connection. That was pretty famous. It was a drugstore. It was a soda fountain. It was where they discovered, I understand, Marilyn Monroe. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah. Oh, a lot of famous people. Yeah. I don't think it's there anymore. But we like to make believe. We like to make believe.
It could be. I remember they talked about Bogey, Humphrey Bogart. You watch the old movies, and he was in there, and he went to the soda fountain, and they used to have what they call soda jerks. You know, pulling the soda. So the slang, you're a jerk.
You're a jerk.
Came from Humphrey.
Wow.
Or Bogey.
You're a soda jerk.
That's right. So lots and lots of history there, right?
And you know the thing is that how everything has changed. It's like when I was art director for Archie comic books. It was everybody would go to the malt shop.
Yeah.
What's a malt shop? You know, you got Cold Stone and Baskin Robbins. Yeah. But you know, what's a malt shop? But anyway,
as they say, time marches on. Joe.
Time marches on, and guess who just marched in?
Yeah,
is our good old pal Jesse Wild from Angel's Garage. A lot of exciting things going on with the Angel's Garage. How you doing there, Jess?
Hey! How's everybody out there on the right coast?
We're baking.
Burning up, I guess.
We're baking, man. We're baking. We're crispy.
Yeah, we're waiting for a little rain. It's dry this up here.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Dry. Enough with the weather. We're tired of talking about how hot it is and everything. Talk about hot. I got a decoded message from Angela this morning, and about yes, it came.
Well, I didn't get one, so you better fill me.
Well, we got it right here. It comes from Army Intelligence. Oh, wait a minute. Everything's blacked out. I can't read it. But anyway, it sounds like the car is that's going to be in the trailer of Angel's Garage, which will be seen on NBC Sports Network, is in its final touches, I guess.
That's true. It is. It's looking beautiful, looking great. They're putting in I guess the last clear coat processes, and it'll be even better than it looks now.
Well, I hope so.
It's got the, yeah, it's got the metal flakes in there already.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and it looks beautiful. I sent a little vid to Mr. Pep, and I think you saw it, didn't you?
I
Bill?
have. Oh, yes. Yeah, the one we were discussing about, yes. It's like when you see this, it's like, to me, it's like when you see a car that's like a rusted out shell, like what Kayla shows us, and then you get it where all this hard work is tearing it apart and then sandblasting it, and then it's down to the rail and you're putting it all back together again. To me, see, I could never do that because there would be always parts left over.
It's like doing a puzzle, right?
Yeah, it's like,
So where does this one go?
Where's this fender go? I don't know where this fender goes. Does this windshield go over by the door?
Yeah.
And then my luck, parts get mixed up, so then I got half Ford, half Chevrolet, But so, Jesse, this must be really exciting for you, because now, after all, the trials, the tribulations, it's like going from a small cable from Southern California to now NBC Sports Network. This has to be really, really exciting for you.
It is. It really is. I personally feel that this is a new thing for me, because when I was asked to be on the show, my take on reality shows was pretty negative.
Sure.
And in this case, it became even better for me because it was friends and family, and that's who Angela and Mark are for me, and that's why they call me Uncle Jesse.
Yeah. Uncle Jesse. Uncle Jesse. Well, Uncle Jesse, thank you so much for phoning in. And hey, we got a Southern California guy. He'll be calling in a couple of minutes. Bob Beck.
All right.
Look at that, Jesse. Take a bow. Take a bow. This is coming.
If I may add, I may add something.
Yeah,
I'd like to add that I live about a block, 2 blocks from Route 66, and up and coming, I'm going to have a little video that I'll send to you folks, and you can kind of see how we celebrate it out here. As far as the road, we have signs and we have paintings and whatnot, but you'll see once I get it going.
I tell you what, if when you were a kid, if you got a Route 66 road sign, wow, that was big stuff. Famous highway, great. That's one of my bucket lists, Joe. Go down 66.
There you go, Jesse. Really? Be your best friend. Get me a sign. Anyway,
I will do that.
Okay,
going at you.
Don't get arrested. Okay, Jesse Wild, Angel's Garage will be, what I understand, premiering in the fall of 2019. A lot of fun. So coming up next is Bob Beck. Bob Beck, and Bob, a true car guy. He started off getting into cars by what we all did. We built models as a kid, and his career. Well, we're going to have Bob tell all about his career and that. But I mean, it's really, he's a type of guy where, like I said in the beginning of the show, it's like when you're talking with a guest, I like to feel comfortable. I like to know my guest. And Bob was a guy that as soon as you say hello, he sounds like a best friend from years gone by and that. So without further ado, the man of the hour, the man of the day, Bob Beck. How you doing, Bob?
I am doing great. Am I getting better?
Wow, that voice. I want a voice just like that one day.
Well, you'll get as old as me, and it'll happen. Don't worry.
Wow, Bob. Let's get down to brass tacks. There, it's how did you get started? I was listening to your interview with Mark Green on Cars, which was very, very impressive. But tell our audience, how did you get started in automotive?
Well, I've always been an automotive nut, even from days as a kid building model cars. But I was racing, autocrossing, SCCA, Solo 1, Solo stuff. And I walked up to the timing and scoring area and said, I'm trying to find out what my lap times are. The guy told me, he said, well, I got to go run my car here, and handed me the microphone.
Oh, wow.
Well, I couldn't just stand there and do nothing or just read off times like he was. So I started talking about the cars and the people and what to expect as they went around the track. A guy walked out of the crowd and said, "How'd you like to get paid to do this?" I said, "Yeah, when do I sign up? Where do I go?"
Wow.
And that's what happened.
Wow.
That's a great story.
That worked into other things. I was working for a local newspaper writing the automotive column, and they asked me to check in to the opening of a drag strip up in Palmdale. I went in there, introduced myself, and the guy says, "Oh, don't you do the announcing up at the fairgrounds of the stock cars and such?" I go, "Yeah." He says, "Here," and he gave me a microphone. 20 years later, I left.
Wow.
And it's been that way. I mean, I've never really applied for the jobs I've gotten. They've all been after people have heard me or a referral.
Don't you think that it's like the best jobs, Bob? Excuse me, come out of
You know,
left
it
field?
is. It is. When someone recommends you or someone seeks you out, then you know you don't have to put on a show for them. You've already done it. They already know what to expect, and there's no secrets. No, uh-oh, he's like that.
Yeah.
No, you already know what he is.
It's already in the bag, and it's a really nice. It's almost like sitting in a chair, nice, comfortable chair. You know.
Well, I'm fascinated because it shows that you were racing TR3 Triumph sports cars. Can you tell us about that?
Well, I had a TR3. When I was 5 years old, a cousin of mine, we were going to some family event, and he put me in the front seat of his TR3. I couldn't see over the dashboard. I was so little. Mm-hmm. But I remembered that very well. And when I had the opportunity, my first sports car was a TR3. I found it. We had a local newspaper in the San Fernando Valley called the Valley Green Sheet at the time. Mm-hmm. And there was a section where nothing was over $25.
Oh, boy.
So I found the TR3 for $25. It had been rear-ended.
Oh.
Well, I learned how to do some body work, straightened that out. Mechanically, it was sound.
Mm-hmm.
Reupholstered the seats, put some tires on it, repainted it,
oh, boy.
And it was great. I had 3 more after that.
Wonderful.
But I never did race those. When I got into racing, I started out with actually a Chevrolet Vega.
Oh,
Vega. I remember that.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing how well they handled at the time.
I'll be darned.
That moved on to other things. I had a Volkswagen Beetle, and then I finally ended up taking a championship one year driving a Datsun 1200.
Those are nice cars. Yeah, those are good cars.
It's a nice, you know, and the funny part about it, we had a speed trap at one of the tracks, and they would actually tell you how quickly you went into the turn and how quickly you came out. Mm-hmm. And although I didn't have that much top speed, I was going in as quickly as the Corvettes and coming out at the same speed. Yeah. And one of the guys from the Corvettes came up to me and says, "You know, there's something wrong. Your car is so much quicker." I said, "No, you're just so much bigger. You got to slow down for the turns. I just speed up and give it more gas."
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Great story. Love it.
And this was what's the time? What's the time line on that, Bob?
Oh, gee, I started doing that in 1975.
Yes,
and at that time I was an auto shop teacher.
And now there's a photograph of you, and it's it'll be coming around on the loop of our little slideshow, and you have a red afro.
Well, that is the color my hair was, and that is the way my hair was until it started going gray at about 30. And at that time, I was actually running a Bug-Eye Sprite, and the best place to get parts for a Bug-Eye Sprite was through British Leyland or your local Triumph, Jaguar, MG dealer.
Yep.
So I had a local dealer that was helping me out with the cost of parts, and he gave me the shirt. I said, "Okay, I'm wearing it."
That's great.
Why not?
Well, how did you get to be an automotive shop teacher? Did you have a background? And obviously, you knew about cars and racing cars, but wasn't there a formal educational process you go through to learn how to teach these young people?
Yeah, most of my training was, I was a vocational major, if you will, in high school.
All right.
And I took all the shops, electrical, auto shop. I was the TA in the auto shop class.
Sure.
And later on, went in the military, became a mechanic in the military. So I went through their training.
There you go.
Then after getting my degree, because of my background, the automotive background and the education, they said, well, I applied for the job and I got it. And it was one of those learning experiences because I was at a juvenile probation lockup facility.
Oh, wow, that's got to be interesting.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
But you said...
so I had the worst of the worst.
Yeah, but you said one of the key things, and that's military. And we always tell these young folks, if you don't know what you want to do, it's the greatest training ground in the world. And it can teach 18, 19-year-old kids how to operate aircraft carriers. So I just can't say enough about it. And what a wonderful start. And it's certainly got you going in the right direction. And I think the military background probably helped you a lot when you were a vocational tech guy, maybe with some problem kids.
Bob, what branch of the service were you in back then?
I was in the Air Force.
Oh.
I actually enlisted before I got out of high school on a delayed entry program and went in 2 weeks out of high school. So I had a 2-week vacation at the end of when I graduated high school, and off I was to Lackland Air Force Base in Texas.
Well,
wow.
Thanks for your service. But
Yeah,
we can't say
absolutely.
enough. That's fantastic. Great story.
See?
Yep.
See? And
great story.
Cars, Bob Beck.
Yes.
Yep.
You know, I mean, this is just fantastic. So, so now we have a radio and podcast. Tell our audience all about that.
Well, it started out about 1990. I was on the Kaleidoscope radio network, and I got hired to do a show. Well, I decided, well, I'm not going to do what everybody else is doing, so I did something along what you're doing now, and called GAS, the Great American Auto Scene. Oh. And I talk about historic cars and so forth. And I always open the show up, and I still do, with I'm Hot Rod Bob, and you've got gas.
Yeah.
And we go on from there.
I think Joe could do the sound effects, but I'm not going to have him do it.
We're not. No. That's all right. That's all right there. We're not. Here, right on the side of my arm. No, that's all right. We're not going to do that there. But
well, it opens up a lot of ways to introduce a new show. It's like I've been talking about the ability, and thank you for letting me be on your show. But I said, hi, I'm Hot Rod Bob, and my gas spreads east now because I'm on the left coast and you're on the east.
Well, but the thing is that it's a universal language. If you're talking to somebody in Europe or in South America or on the West Coast, it's once you start talking cars, it's everybody understands it. What's your here's a question for you. What's your favorite time period in automobiles?
I'm torn. I've got cars in the 40s, 50s, and 70s era right now, and 80s era that I have. But there really isn't one that I like the most, although I am partial to cars that actually will turn left and right, and that's how I got into the sports cars. So for me, it's probably the 60s with the imports, and then later on with the American cars as they started to catch up. And the fun car, the more fun car I have, I guess you could say, is I've got an '89 Corvette with every bell and whistle that was available, and it handles great. I took it out on Irwindale Speedway's track. I did a Corvette night. I sponsored a Corvette night there Saturday, and had a friend with me. She'd been in my Corvette before, but she'd never been at speed. And I held it down in the turns, it's a half-mile oval. I held it down to about 45 or so miles an hour in the corners, and then I just go flat out down the straight in second gear until I hit red line.
Yeah.
And she'd never driven that far, but it was or that fast, but it was like, oh my God. And I go, no, this is slow.
Yeah.
This is just a street car.
Yeah.
And it was a kick. And I love the way that car handles. I got to drive one when they first came out and said that was going to be the car I wanted.
Yeah, interesting enough, those cars, they say, are more aerodynamic than some of the later model Corvettes. That's a wonderful shape. Great shape.
It was a wonderful car, and it gets bad-mouthed, I guess, among the Corvette aficionados for some reason. And I'm not quite sure, other than they switched over to the net horsepower rating, so it doesn't have that much. It's only rated at 245 horsepower. But it was an exceptionally well-built car, and handling, it far exceeded that of the car it replaced, the C3s. It's not quite as comfortable as a C4 or C5, I mean, but it's brutal. I have a C5 and I've got the C4, and my C5 is my daily driver. That's a lot more compliant. But when I get into the C4, that's like a brute. I love that car.
See, it's you could be talking forever. It's like all these different
Absolutely.
car categories,
Yeah.
and it's from family stories to a buddy that had a car. It's someone asked me. It's like, well, Pep, what's your favorite car? And I says, well, it depends on the day, and it's like yesterday I saw a 1936 Ford panel wagon, and I was like, wow, this is
great car, yeah.
This is great, And then you'll see a brass era car, But it all depends. It all depends. Like, oh, I'm in love today because I just saw, a 57 DeSoto, and it's to me, just a beautiful design in that. But hey, tell us, Bob. We got a couple minutes left. Tell us about your partner that's with you.
Randy Verdun and I share on our individual podcasts. He's a sportscaster on KNX 1070 here in Los Angeles, and then we both co-host each other's shows. His is Talking About Cars, and it's on radio.com and KNX 1070 radio, and then mine is Got Gas, or Great American Auto Scene.
Wow.
So we co-host, and we got put together by a friend of ours. We didn't know each other, and I had a booth for a company I worked for at a car show, and Randy was there to do the presentations at the awards. And this guy says, well, let me introduce you two guys, and why don't you do it together? So we met each other. I knew him from his work, and we started talking, and then it came time to do the awards. Well, both of us have kind of off-centered sense of humors, and we played off each other. And we knew we were doing things right when the cameraman fell off his seat. So
Well,
we were having
that's
fun.
kind of a dead giveaway, isn't it?
Yeah. So we were having fun, and we made everyone laugh. We brought a mundane trophy presentation into something that became almost like a comedy skit, but it made people laugh and made people smile, and that's what we like. And after that, we decided, well, let's team up and do what we can together. And we're working shows, almost every weekend someplace.
Wow,
that's great.
Wow,
great story.
And this is a late congratulations, but you just recently got married a couple of years ago.
Yeah, my wife and I got married on the starting line of Irwindale Speedway, and I'm the staff announcer there for the drag strip.
Mm-hmm.
But we decided we were going to get married, and we're trying to figure out when we could get married. When we wanted to invite our friends. We didn't want a real formal situation. Well, Irwindale started a program called Night of Destruction. It's a demo derby night. They have trailer racing, which it really isn't racing. It's destroying trailers as you drive along. And they had regular demo derby type things. And that would be a great night to get married. Night of Destruction. Yeah, that's appropriate.
Right.
So
yes. Perfect.
So we did, and we invited our friends. We had 50 hot rods and customs all there, and our friends. We told them the formal attire is T-shirts and jeans, and
there you go.
Did. My wife and I had specially made shirts that we wore. They were kind of like the Shelby shirts with the stripe down the side.
Yeah.
We had our names on them, and then embroidered a car, each of our cars. I've got a 48 Plymouth Hot Rod. My wife's got a 46 Ford. But she had that before we got married. I think that was one of the things. I said, when we started dating, I said, well, it's nice to meet you. Please send me a picture of your car.
Right.
Wow.
And but she has a 46 Ford with a full house flathead, and her car is cool. It's not a real hardcore show car, but she did win her class at the Grand National Roadster Show in California.
Wow. Bob,
so
great choice.
She's had fun.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bob Beck, it's thank you so much for taking time out and being on Every Car Has a Story. And we would love to have you back at a future date. And have a fantastic summer, a fantastic weekend. Thank you so very much.
Thanks,
Bob. Thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to it.
Okay,
thanks
Bob
again.
Beck there. Gas.
I tell you, it's a great choice. But I think my lovely wife married me because I had an Alfa Romeo and a great dog.
Wow, great dogs. Well, anyway, so
so you like
Nick
the dog in the car?
Nick's saying to wind it up there.
All right.
Next week we have British broadcaster Mark Stone.
Oh, wow.
And he'll be calling in from the United Kingdom, where the Queen says, I love Mark Stone. And he'll be joining us. And so that's next week, June 6th. So, hey, this is JoepeP.
And Dusty.
And you're listening to Every Car Has a Story. Have a great weekend. Happy motoring, everybody.